Hello and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Solar Expanse demo. This is the start of the second stream. Between the first and second stream, I did notice that the one track in the game at the moment did end up flagging as copyright on YouTube. So going forward, we're going to have the music turned off. At some point, I'll figure out how to sort of backfill um, recordings with music audio. But at the moment, this one is going to be effectively no music audio. We are going to have the UI sound playing here in Solar Expanse demo. And this is the demo. We've got another 25 years or so, well, 24 and a half, because we're halfway through the fifth year here of the demo before the demo comes to an end. In the end of the last one, we just reached Mars. So we've got this quest here, preparations for human landing on Mars 2, which is build a fuel refinery and an outpost on Mars in preparation for arriving there and establish some energy production to, power those, which was easy. We brought in the radioisotope generator and that sorted out. And then from construction standpoint, I believe we have all the materials here to build those. So those are in construction. Mobile refinery will be done. The mobile refinery is the one I believe that requires. Oh no, the proper refinery. Proper fuel refinery is what it wants. So we got an outpost and fuel refinery. Both of these are going to require workers. We got a mobile one there, so in the meantime, we'll be making a little bit of fuel. Right now, I did between streams, I did a quick survey of what we know in the solar system. We have 5 known sources. If I bring it up here, 5 known sources of noble gases. So, and I think basically the 5 that we know, right? We don't none of the Greeks, none of the Trojans that we know of yet. Jupiter, as far as we know, doesn't have any. Is 3 of them the comets: Halley, Encke, and Faye. Don't know of any out in. Oh, I suppose we know Ceres. Make that 6. Ceres, the comets. Ceres is probably going to be the easiest one to get to outside of Mars. We know Mars has. It doesn't show here. We know Mars has some noble gases, and then Earth obviously has noble gases. So for the short term here, we are going to be somewhat noble gas limited. It's fairly expensive on Earth. It's cheap on Mars, but that's Mars where we don't have a lot of people to gather it. So we're probably going to stick mostly to petrol engines, although we have the fun thing that petrol engines are not particularly thrust efficient. So we go through a lot of fuel doing transfers with them. Right now, our ships can go from Earth to Mars. I think they can probably go from Earth to Venus, although there's nothing we really want to do at Venus yet. We can look at Venus. I don't think we haven't even surveyed Venus. We know Venus has carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So when the time comes, we can get carbon dioxide from Venus to do terraforming. But a lot of carbon dioxide there. Venus, I would not be surprised if it's so uninhabitable that we're not allowed to put colonies on it right now. And then we don't. I think we'd have to stop over at Venus to get down to Mercury. So I think the petrol engines are about enough to go up and down about one orbit. So we can go from Earth to Venus or Earth to Mars. We just did Earth to Mars, obviously, with the petrol engines. And I think from Mars we can probably get out to the asteroid belt. Might even be able to do Jupiter. And well, of course, that would include Ceres and stuff. In the meantime, we're going to be limited by sort of petrol and our limited capacity with the electric drives. The electric drives are a little bit more flexible because they're more fuel efficient. But our only good source of cheap fuel for them is Mars, where we don't have the people to mine it. So that's going to be something we work on, is expanding production of Mars. Notably at Mars, the only real resource that we're missing is I don't believe we have any exotics here, or any of the rare earth metals. So that's something we're going to have to go out of our way for. So that's something like Hebe or Lutetia or Nisa, or up to Psyche. And we can, from Mars, use gas-powered engines to get to Lutetia. So we've got options, even though we're still kind of stuck on the gas engines here. Tech-wise, we're working on circuit productions in space to get our access to electronic facilities, or electronics, so we don't have to buy them from Earth. We can make them in space. Which again, I think we have everything we basically need at Mars to build electronics outside of the rare earth metals. I think I've got it queued up here. Advanced alloying techniques. That might be a little bit early. Maybe don't need it quite that early. I should probably add the Daedalus in here, which is the solar sail tech. Yeah, let's add that in here. Let's put this before the fuel efficiency techs on the rocket engines. And then the other one I think we want to add is we've got crude, which is 5 tons for. Oh, it's five ton for the compartment, 5 tons for the crew, and then if we go up to medium, it's a 15 tons, so it's a little bit more ton efficient for crew. Not too worried about that right now. The other one we want is probably rotary launch to lower costs on Earth for launching, which is, I went past it, did I? Spin launch, there we go, which has the rotary launcher. Put that in the queue again before for fuel efficiency for the petrol tanks. We get another 25% and another, effectively another 35% fuel efficiency on our petrol engines, which will help keep costs low. In the Mars system, which is probably where we're going to be doing most of our expansion, we currently have assets basically at Mars and its couple moons. I think the one we're going to probably pay the most interaction with is Phobos. Phobos has metal, 50 kilotons of metal, and not deep down in the Martian gravity well. So if I want to be doing metal elsewhere in the solar system right now, this is my best source of metal. It also has carbon that we want to extract, same sort of thing with silicon. The silicon we can turn into probably solar panels, into glass, into solar panels. Here on Mars, we're probably going to end up building electronics. Yeah, in Phobos, we want to go first to orbit, and I think our first order of business is going to be dropping what we want from orbit. So I've worked out we probably don't. We got the mobile refinery at Mars, and then Deimos has a mobile refinery. Are we making water? That's enough. Well, no, because it hasn't determined how accessible the water is yet. Because we haven't brought the probe. The probe hasn't arrived yet. So I need to bring the probe. I think we want to bring the extra refinery over here so we have more petrol. So we can do stuff with the Stratos. I think the current plan, short-term plan here, is we're going to drop the stuff at Phobos, have the Hermes we have at Phobos fly to Deimos, drop off what we want to leave at Deimos, meet up with the one at Mars, and then the two Hermes will plan their return trip to Earth. Is sort of our Martian plans. In the meantime, we'll be extracting metal, we'll be extracting carbon, we'll be extracting water, and the water will be mostly getting turned into fuel for the Stratos to move around the system. Back at Earth, we do have a Hermes, so we could plan the next trip to Mars. In fact, we can use the Hermes right now as sort of a dummy payload to figure out when our launch window is. So let's do that right now. So Earth, orbit, to Mars, orbit. We have a Hermes. So the next launch window, and yeah, I think the thing we're missing right now is rare metals. So we probably bring rare metals and supplies along on the ship for planning purposes. We'll say it has 100 supplies and 200 rare metal. Doesn't need to launch a vehicle because we're in orbit, and then we can figure out where the launch window is. So we're in 2025, middle 2025, and the launch window, interestingly enough, is the 26th of September. So over a year in the future. So we don't need to send this off yet. Yeah, we don't need to send this off yet. On the other hand, that might be the situation of we might not get the other Hermes back in time for them to make their launch window to go back. So we might be doing a one-ship flight. And if I'm doing that, we might want it to be people instead of rare earths and food. Well, we'll have some food, but it'll be mostly rare earths. How quickly can I get another Hermes going if I've got the resources? 280 days. That would be, if we had everything in orbit, appropriate. And we don't have everything in orbit. I am 10 radioactives short, although I can probably get 10 radioactives to orbit pretty quickly. Okay, so let's actually get moving. We've been sitting here chatting about what we're thinking about doing for 10 minutes here. Let's start doing applications. So, in orbit over Phobos, I want to bring one mining module to Demos. I want to bring the radioisotope generator to Demos. Yeah, the radioisotope generator to Demos. I'm going to leave one here. I'm going to leave the mobile habitat here. Because I think Phobos is probably the one we want to put people on first. So for plan a mission, this is actually going to be a little bit of an interesting mission because it's going to be Demos or Phobos orbit to Phobos. Because we're basically just dropping stuff in orbit. So construction module, yes. Mobile habitat, yes. Probe, yes. Radioisotope generator, yes. And 1, 2, 3, 4 mining modules. Actually, hit this all until we run out of things. There we go. Don't want to send the radioisotope generator because I want to send that over to Demos, and I don't want to send the last mining module down because I want to send that over to Demos. We'll bring the electronics along. We want to leave the electronics probably in Martian orbit. Again, I don't think I need it at Phobos. Yeah, we'll plan that drop. No launch vehicle needed. Should basically arrive immediately. Plan another mission. This is from Phobos orbit to Demos orbit with the Hermes. We want to take the remaining modules. I want to take the remaining electronics. It's no launch vehicle required. We're going to take all the fuel. So all 140 tons of fuel with us. We will arrive with 130-something tons. Okay. There we go. That is planned. There's technically a little bit of fuel that's going to be left in Phobos orbit, but that's fine. Demos. Well, specifically Demos orbit. Because the Stratos is down here. The Stratos is really waiting until the probe arrives. So that we can get understanding of what we got water-wise here. But Demos orbit, we can do a planned mission. Demos orbit to... no, not Mars. Mars orbit. We're going to take the Hermes flying from Phobos. And we want the mining module to be left behind. We want the radioisotope generator to be left behind. We want the electronics to be left behind. We're just basically doing a flyby and dropping cargo. Actually, we want the electronics to carry on to Mars. And then from there, take all the... We should have leftover fuel. It's leaving the fuel behind, which it shouldn't be doing. Okay, yeah, it's leaving the fuel behind, which it shouldn't be doing. Okay, probably a bug in the demo. That'll probably be fixed in the full game. Yeah, it's not letting me tell it to keep fuel, so we need to wait until it arrives. Okay, so we gotta wait for that mission to complete, but that should be easy enough to do. Next stop. Earth. Because I don't know if we're gonna get our ship back, I'm not going to assume... Yeah, I'm not gonna assume that we have more than one outbound, unless I'm gonna send some Stratos. So what do I want at Mars for the next one? specifically. So we want crew. We've got, or we will have an outpost. The outpost will definitely be done in time. The outpost is going to hold info. See the radiation, atmosphere, and gravity pressure ranges. Okay. Capacity 10. Okay, so we're going to have capacity for 10. So we should, on Earth, make human travel compartments for enough for 10 people. Crew compartments. Make me 2 crew compartments for Mars. And then we do have a mobile hab on Phobos, which we're going to want. Yeah, it's a mobile hab. The mobile hab is a different number of people. Again, we want to bring people over for it. I can check how much the mobile hab is. Capacity 20. So we want another 4 crew compartments for Phobos. Now, is there anything special I need for the farm? Production, hydroponics farm. It's metal, 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 and metal. Okay, so we should be good on the farm. Fuel for refineries is a little bit more complicated because we'll need rares for it, which we don't have in situ. So there's actually an argument that's a good reason to bring rares along. If I want to build the ship, I want to build another Hermes, which we would have enough time to get built and launched for the next window. I need 10 radioactives. So we're going to go down and buy 10 radioactives. Don't buy max, buy 10. And then we'll get that launched to orbit. We can send that up on a Falcon with a small amount of fuel. Earth orbit. No, orbital payload container. Radioactives. 32 fuel. Make sure the rocket's full. Going up on the Falcon. Okay. In the meantime, there is an argument to be building up on Mars. And the argument to build up on Mars is we can make fuel here. And for the moment, we're going to be hungry hippos for fuel. Because the noble gases are expensive. I think we bought like 900 last time. It took like half the treasury. Oh, there's only 13 available in the market right now. That's affordable. We'll just buy what's left in the market. We'll see if some more pops up in a moment. But yeah. So at the moment in orbit, we have enough for about 3 Hermes to make the trip out to Mars. Click on Mars. So right now we got to sort of get Mars to make the nobles for the flying. At least the nobles are metal. We got metal at Mars. So we're mining metal at Mars and the mining modules that we then turn into noble gas extractors. The only thing missing on Mars is carbon for farms, but that's also made out of, or the farms are also made out of metal, so we can just drop carbon from Demos, so that shouldn't be too bad. That's one of the reasons we want to mine pretty heavily on Demos. And then all the mines we want to work with are metal. So we can use the Demos metal to make metal to mine more carbon, mine more metal. Okay. Yeah, and the other argument is, do we want to use the Stratoses, get some more of the Stratoses out to Mars? They probably got the same window. We can also take some food along. What are they looking like for fuel? That's not too bad. It's only 500 something tons of fuel. Oh no, it's showing that as fuel because that's actually what the fuel we got in orbit is. So it's not too bad. They could definitely do that burn over, but that would empty the Earth orbit's fuel every cycle. We definitely need to get more fuel up to orbit, which means we either need to make it in orbit, make it on Earth, or make it on the moon. So we've got a year or so to get that done. So with that, let's actually unpause. We've got a couple different launches going on. Most importantly is the Earth one, so we can get the second Hermes going. Second Earth Hermes going. While we wait to figure out if we can get the ones at Mars back in time. Okay, so there's more nobles. 2.1 thousand per noble. So if we bought all the nobles, oh, actually, that's yeah. So it's 200,000 for all the nobles on the market. So it's expensive. Okay, so we got our Falcon to orbit. So in theory, in orbit, I have everything I need to get another Hermes under construction. There we go. So right now, the arguments for what we'd probably want to launch are rares and electronics to Mars and food, because we have to build habitats out of food. So the people on arrival won't necessarily have any food there because we can't make it until they get there. Yep, that's building. That'll build pretty quickly. And we're making a healthy 0.74 tons of metal a day here. It'll take a while to store up enough that we can build another building, but we'll probably build more hab. Probably build the next hab with the rest of the food. Get another capacity for 100 people here. Phobos hasn't done enough exploring yet, so I think we're technically getting the minimum yield on everything the mine can mine. We are getting some outputs there. Same sort of logic with demos. I think we're getting minimum yield on the mine until the probe arrives. Let's go ahead and I'm going to check. I'm going to use the Falcons to try to chuck some, or the Eagles to chuck some fuel to orbit. Earth orbit. Just an orbital payload. Fuel, 800 fuel on an Eagle, which costs 2.2 tons due to the atmospheric pressure. So yeah, burn a lot of propellant. We're getting 800 tons up there, but we're spending a lot in the mission. So in fact, that's actually, we don't have enough fuel to do another repeat of that right away. And then over at the moon, what would we want at the moon if I were to continue expanding the moon? Does everyone have a job? No, I got 31 empty jobs. So we can make more stuff here fairly easily. The question is what? And the answer is probably fuel. Water into fuel. Or so is the alternative is, what does an orbital fuel refinery cost? Metal and rares. Ooh, so the thing that's gonna put me off of doing that is the rares. Although this doesn't have any crew. It doesn't have any crew to work it, so it's just noble or just metal and rares. Whereas over here it's just metal. Oh, it's also rares over here. 10 rares if I put it on, and 5 crew, or in orbit. I want to see the orbital one. The orbital one is 30 rares. The mobile refinery, interestingly enough, Doesn't cost any rares. Costs electronics. Although I don't know what electronics cost. They might cost rares, in which case, but that's not a cost decrease. Okay. Given I've got an idea where I want to send these rare metals already. How expensive are the rares if I were to buy more up? I could probably do that. Okay. Let's buy more rares. And then can I buy a decent chunk of petrol? I could just buy what's on the market for petrol, sure. There we go. Okay, so that'll help with the petrol. That'll help with our ability to find more fuel, which I think we will do probably at Luna. I think that makes more sense than making more water over there, shipping the water out. It's for the short term. The water deposit expected to go for another 184 years, the current consumption rate. So we could support another 62 petrol worth, or 62 water consumption. The refinery is 0.9. And I've got enough crew there to operate 6. So that'd be less than 60. We could operate 60. So yeah, I think that makes sense. We bring over enough metal, bring over enough rares to do that. That would be 300 metal, that'd be 600 rares. Or 300 metal, 60 rares. Don't carry the 0 when the 0 doesn't need to be carried. Okay. Let's have another Eagle launch. This Eagle launch I'm going to send up with the rares. Orbital payload again. 800 rares on the Eagle. And then we'll probably have... Probably have the Stratos bring the... we'll start ferrying the stuff over. Need more metals in orbit. Yeah, I'm going to need more metals in general. Okay, that was probably more metals than I need. We got 5k metals on Earth. So, get metals to orbit. So I think we're waiting for the Falcons, or the Eagles to come back. So let's let time pass until the Eagles do their thing. Because I need metals in orbit. So we're going to launch the metals next. Earth orbit. Orbital payload. 800 metal to orbit on an Eagle. And then I'll do one that is also just fuel. Here we go. Okay, so, do you have a Stratus on Earth that I screwed up and have one down there? I'll have to launch it at some point on an Eagle. We had a notification. Oh, that was Fizziles being found on Earth, so that's some time pass. Wait for this stuff to happen over at Mars. So, okay, so we've explored Phobos, and we know how accessible the deposits are. So that's pretty terrible. 0.1 metal. On the other hand, it's 50 kilotons, and it's not at the bottom of Mars's gravity well. So, balance to be had there. Mars has more metal. Well, actually, oh no, it arguably has more metal at a better quality. Mars has more metal in total because it's got the 0.2 20 megaton deposit. But yeah, so we want to mine that. That's going to be our source of metal for things up in orbit. Silicon, we're going to make our glass on Phobos, and then carbon is what we will need for making food. So stuff arrived at Demos. It has. So we now starting to get some feedback on what we have in demo. So we've got water, we got silicon. We know how good the water is. We know how good the silicon is. The water's not that good, but it's in orbit. Same sort of logic to Demos, or Demos is basically saying the Phobos in that it's not water at the bottom of a gravity well. So Mars again has better water, but it is also the bottom of a gravity well. Okay, so now we want to get the Hermes over to Mars. And it wants to bring electronics along and the fuel along. And then we want to drop from orbit the stuff we left in orbit. And demos. Okay, now we're just going to wait for stuff to arrive at Mars. Which doesn't take too long. There we go. So, the two Hermes in orbit at Mars want to make the return trip to Earth. Okay. So we're not making the next outbound window. What I'm estimating from here. Oh, what was it September? 26th of September? Might be able. Well, it's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight if we're making the transfer. Let's check quickly. Mission planning, Earth to Mars orbit. Technically, it's Earth orbit, not Mars, not Earth itself. Got Hermes there. Yeah, 26th of September. So I'd have to do the fastest burn back to take the burn out on optimal. September 25th. And we were getting back with a quick burn, with the fastest burn back on September 13. So 2 days for them to load up for the return trip. Okay, that's gonna make it tight. Yeah, that's gonna make that tight. That doesn't mean it's not doable. Does not mean it's not doable. Okay. Let's still plan that. So Martian orbit to Earth orbit. We're gonna have the both Hermes go, and they're gonna take all the fuel they've got on the fastest transfer. They will arrive September 12th, and for the return trip back to Mars, we need them to leave on September 15th. Is sort of the math we worked out there. Gonna be a little tight. So we've committed to that. Okay. Now back here at Earth. Anything I actually want to do at Mars before I'm thinking about Earth here? So you've got construction facilities, but you don't have metal yet. What would you want to build? And you can definitely build stuff because we're gonna have metal. So eventually we're gonna have the metal that we can do the hydroponics farm. We can do manual mines. Basically anything that costs pure metal you can do. So carbon mine, metal mine, silicon mine, those are easy to do. Hydroponics farm makes sense. We don't have alloys yet, although I can make alloys out of the metal once people arrive. Launch pod costs metal, although the launch costs here are going to be pretty cheap because it's a moon. And then solar arrays will cost alloys and silica, both of which we can make there. Although the silica's got to wait until we make the alloys. We'd have to make the alloys to make the glass to make the solar panel. So yeah, there's definitely some stuff we can do here. Okay. But yeah. I think with how long things are going to take to build at Phobos and Mars, because those are the two places we got metal, so those are the two places we can build until people arrive. Unless we get some really good fuel going at Phobos, so that we can really good fuel going at Demo, so we can move the Stratos around to transport metal and stuff around. Which probably actually what we do is we transport the carbon around to pre-distribute the food for the hydroponics. Maybe a little bit for the metal itself, or the hydroponic farms, metal around for the hydroponics farms itself. But yeah, so I think on Earth we're going to be waiting until the launch window. Oh, actually, Mars will be able to afford getting the plus 100 housing from the habitat, because we've already got the food there. We're just saving with the metal. So I can't put a good warning like, oh, when you hit 100 metal, tell me you've hit 100 metal. I should prepare another 20 crew modules on Earth for going to Mars. Here we go. And then yeah, I think we're gonna go ship over mobile fuel refineries over to the moon. Enough to do 6. Did I get enough the metal up there yet? No, we're waiting for the metal. Okay, so let's wait until we get our next launch. Outpost completed on Mars. We will complete this contract here, and then we'll be given some more contracts. So we'll be thinking about those contracts at that point. I don't have all the contracts memorized. I've seen basically 30 years of the game, so I should, if I have memorized everything, know exactly what we'd be doing for the next 25 years, but I did not memorize that hard. So waiting until October. There's our next launch to Earth. Good. Cyclical emissions. Oh, I have cyclical emissions planned for our oil shipment to Earth. So is my stuff in orbit already? My stuff's in orbit. Okay, so we can start moving it over to Mars, over to the moon. The moon needs 300 metal and 60 rares. So let's get this ship moon to Earth orbit. We don't need to carry anything right now. Yeah, I don't need to carry anything right now. Although, do I have enough? Oh no, I'll have enough power. I don't even need to build a solar panel. So I could actually technically take the glass back for shipping the glass out. And even the alloys back. So I don't need the alloys here right now. Sure, take the alloys back. I don't think we need those, and then take, let's say, 50 the glass back enough to build a solar panel somewhere. And take minimum fuel. Sure, because we're gonna need more fuel here when we sending the shadows back. So let's do that. Then my Eagles aren't yet ready for a launch. Let's have one of those Eagles simply specified to take the Stratos we have on the planet to Earth orbit. We'll set it up some other stuff to not completely waste the launch. Probably the rares. Let's take the 100 rares to orbit. There's our guys back from the moon. So we'll send the 3 of them to the moon with, and we've got 3 of them up. So we'll send all three of them with the 300 metal. And we'll send them the max fuel so they hopefully have enough fuel to go and return. Oh, do I want to min the fuel? Min the fuel, they might be stuck there for a bit, but that's probably fine because the whole point is to make more fuel at the moon. Okay. And we're waiting for this orbit. Oh, that's June. That's a bit of a wait. I can probably afford to have one of these guys fly back. Luna, Earth orbit, empty cargo. Just one Stratos. No cargo on it. In the fuel? In the fuel. So it's 35 fuel there. Okay. I'll work with that. We got one in orbit, and we got one, I think, still on the way up. Yeah. Okay, so the one that's in orbit, not Earth, Earth orbit, to the moon. And then I only want 60 rare, so only send 60, please. And then take minimum fuel, because again, the whole point of this is to take fuel from the, or make fuel on the moon and bring it back to Earth. Earth orbit. Okay. So with that, we now have enough to make 5 of these refineries. Oh, 6 of those refineries, which will give our 30 of our 31 unemployed people here a job to make fuel, so we have lots and lots of fuel coming in. And we completed that contract. Contract complete. Preparations for human landing on Mars 2 preparations are complete. Power generators are up and running. The shelter is fully operational. All that remains is getting astronauts there. Important information. Humans consume supplies, live in habitats, are the workforce for many production facilities. Resource mines and factories require human crew to operate, and if there's not enough, they will work at reduced speed. They can be recruited on Earth or born in colonies on other planets. Left without habitats or supplies, humans will quickly die in space and on other planets. If provided food and shelter, humans will reproduce and let your colonies grow by themselves and become large enough. Many planetary conditions can affect how easy it is for people to live there. The less it is like Earth, the harder it will be for the colonists. Okay, deliver crew compartment type S with crew on board directly to Mars. And I've been ordered to deliver 10 fissiles directly to Earth orbit. Everything else has apparently been achieved. Okay. I think from directly to is it doesn't care how it got there, just that it's got there or is there. So these are checked off because I have alloys in orbit, I have electronics in orbit, I have rares in orbit. I don't currently have any fissiles in orbit because we spent them all, but we had done that, so that's easy enough to do. We just do that again. And then deliver crew on board directly to Mars. So the next quest here is pretty easy. We were kind of already planning on doing that. And then this unlocks supposedly 4 more contracts. So we go from having 1 contract that we got to do to 4. Fair enough. So short term, let's get those radioactives to orbit. I'm going to get those radioactives to orbit. I first need them. Let's buy 10 radioactives. I probably, if I can, want to also get more more nobles. That's not too atrocious. We'll buy that. That's all that's on the market at the moment. Am I already down to 1.5? Oh dear. We go through petrol quickly. Spend $1 million on petrol. And then we'll ship the petrol, the nobles, and the fizzles to orbit, I think. So how we'll achieve the next step in the mission. Okay, that leaves you with 599 tons of cargo capacity. That will load up on fuel to get to orbit, to load on this vehicle. Okay. Same time, I have a Selene. Or should get a probe. Let's get a probe. One probe. And I'm thinking with that probe, I was talking about one of the things that we're missing at Mars is rares. We have no rare earth metals. The game kind of pushes you to go to Lutetia for those. There's other options. You have more options than that. Lutetia is not the only place you can go for that. But the main quest is going to push us to go there. I think Lutetia is guaranteed to have rares. And it's part of the inner belt, so it's reasonably reachable with our petrol engines from Mars. Although, and it's got water there, so we can be making fuel in situ if we needed to do there and back again. So yeah, we're gonna send the probe ship off to Lutetia so we can see how good Lutetia is. As soon as we have that probe. Take me to Earth, please. New author for more fuel, so the fuel gets a little bit more expensive, and there's now a big chunk of it back on planet Earth. Spacecraft has arrived in Earth orbit, so that is my... Let me just arrived back. So one of my Stratus has returned. Yeah, that has to be a Stratus returning. The Earth launches haven't come back. Okay. Although at some point we want to get these ones back. Of course, when we do want those guys to come back, we'll do a Luna to hypothetical Earth orbit transfer here. We ideally want them to come back fully loaded. Right, so we say one of you loaded with 100 tons of fuel. Maximally loaded with fuel, which is more fuel than we've got, effectively. I could do the minimum burn back, so we drop 100 at destination. I'm not sure how well that's calculating, because that's calculating based on me not putting 100 of that fuel in the tank, in the cargo hold. We're not going to push that button. We know we don't have enough fuel, effectively, yet. But the whole point here up on Luna is that we're going to make more fuel. Just going to take some time. In the meantime, we wait for that probe to build. And we have our ships returning from Mars. Slowly and steadily they will get back. Okay, probe is ready. So we can do the Selene launch. Earth to, ideally want to go to Lutetia. When is the launch window with this lane? So if we do fastest, which with the probe carrier, it actually makes the most sense. We either do fastest, or we do optimal and crank the fuel down. So either way, it is November or you arrive in. So actually, that arrives November 24th or arrives May 11th. So it doesn't make a big. Well, no, I probably do want to know before if I can. Yeah, we'll go the faster the full tank. This will still tie up the launch Falcon for 4 months. I can work with it 4 months. Yeah. Oh, and this is because I have no nobles on Earth. Yeah, we'll pay the 21.4K to get the launch off with no delays. Okay, so we got our 100 tons here. So we're gonna build, following the completion of the, I don't know, the fuel refinery is there, but it's not working because there's no crew. Build more crew space. Build a habitat. They're in Callisto. Okay. Army's constructed at Earth orbit. So I've got 2 of my 4 launches. So probably the ones taking crew want to be the ones I already have on Earth. I'm pretty sure we can load that much crew up on 2 of them. Because, yeah, that's going to be 260. I could load that much crew up on 1 of them. Yeah, I could load that much crew up on 1 of them if I needed to. What I do need is more food. I think 7,000 tons is a little more than we need. I'll grab like 12,000 tons. Oh, no, I want a little bit more than that. Let's plan the mission. Actually, I still want 12,000 tons. I might need more than that still, but let's grab 12,000 tons. Almost $1 million of food. Mission planning. Earth to Mars orbit or... Let's assign... no. Mars orbit. The reason is because I want it to arrive and not dump the nobles on Mars. So it's Mars orbit. I mean, probably actually only one of the Hermes is going to go straight to Mars. So that is... and I need more. I need more humans. We need to recruit more humans. Let's go 40 humans per month. Okay, so 210 tons, because it's 5 tons for the crew, 5 tons for the compartment, is the 22 crew compartments. There's going to be 110 people to go to Mars. Let's load them up with 80 tons of food. So this is the go directly to Mars ship. The other Hermes we're going to actually send to demos. Okay, this is not too bad from a repellent standpoint. I suppose for the moment, this is locking in a couple of my eagles until the launch date, which is not good. So that I gotta stop in orbit. Okay, I think I'm still gonna do this because I don't want the humans sitting in orbit while I'm waiting. Oh, but my nobles, my gas is in orbit. I need to go to orbit. I need to dump in orbit because I need the gas in orbit. Yeah, that makes sense. I need to go to orbit because I need the gas in orbit. Fair enough. Okay. I probably have enough food if I just go straight to orbit with everybody. Okay, let's change where we're going first. We're gonna plan it from a Earth orbit to Mars or to Mars. Earth orbit. So payload container. Arguably that means we can do everything in one mission because I can just shuffle everything onto the ship and launch to Earth. Okay, so we'll get our 26 pods loaded. I've got 800 tons of launch capacity because I'm stopping over in orbit. So load the rest up with food, so we got plenty of food in orbit while they're sitting there waiting for their ride. Here we go. On an eagle. To orbit. Insufficient propellant. Okay. Does that much propellant exist on the market for me to buy? Sure. Problem solved. To orbit with you. And the reason we're doing this is because I've shipped my noble gases to Earth orbit, so I need it in Earth orbit to do the launch. So okay, so we'll it's gonna be 5 days plus 3 because I need to prep the rocket and 3 to actually get it to orbit. Found metal Callisto. Okay. Okay, so our crew is in orbit, and in orbit they have how many days of supplies? 21 years. Hopefully, hopefully, we've only got 24 and, well, 23 and a half. Hopefully we get them to Mars sometime in the next 21 years. Yep, hopefully. Okay, so now that they're in orbit, I can do an orbit-orbit transfer plan. So Earth orbit to Mars orbit. Using Hermes. Oh, and I can take the mobile refinery along. Because apparently it didn't take it along earlier. I don't want that going to Mars, though. which kind of annoyingly makes this in the way. And I got a probe in orbit. I probably do actually, could probably actually just take the probe along. That wouldn't be a problem. Okay, Hermes, don't want those. Gotta do the manual way because there's no easy way to spam ad, right? Spam ad doesn't work the way I want it to. That's more clicks than click and drag. So 220 tons. So 220 tons, and then we want the remaining 80 tons to be food. Plus the life support and the nobles. So we're going to get there with 128 tons of propellant remaining. And we've got supplies for about 4 years, and it's only going to take a year in transit, so they're technically going to arrive with 3 years of extra food. So that should work. I will need to pay attention because we are arriving at orbit, not on Mars. So when we arrive, I need to tell them to drop from orbit to Mars, which is free to do. I need to remember to do that because, okay, they've got 3 years of food. They'll be fine in orbit, but still. Okay, and that doesn't tie up our Falcon on Earth. The other Hermes wants to go from Earth orbit to Deimos. And this one can probably take the mobile refinery and the probe. Take the mobile refinery and the probe, and then the crew compartments. Do I take food? Well, I should take some food. Because it's going to take a while before we get the logistics set up for hydroponics back and forth. Do I take anything but food? I'm going to say yes. We're going to take 144 tons, which is 134 tons. And then I will take 100 rares along. Because again, the one thing we are objectively missing in the Martian system is rare metal. I can make everything else, unless it costs rare metals, in the Martian system, given enough time. We're taking supplies because we got the problem of, well, how do you make the food before people arrive? And the answer is you don't, so you take it with you. And then we do that, again, on the optimal burn. Oh, the other one might have been the fastest, but okay. This leaves September 17th, arrives July 29, and that's perfectly fine. Cool. And now we wait. We have Mars return flight arriving on the 26th of September. In the meantime, our fuel production capacity is expanding on Luna. Oh, and a bunch of our Earth stuff isn't working because I don't have enough people to work this test on Earth. I have jobs for... oh, it's not going to tell me how many jobs I have. I have a lot of jobs. A lot of places aren't working because there isn't enough people to work the jobs. Okay. I have working... Well, have housing space for 190, so 190 more. Let's hire 190 more personnel. That should make a whole bunch of our stuff work better. There we go. A lot of the numbers are back in the green. Except for the food. Suppose in hindsight, we could be making our own food. Water is free. Carbon isn't free, but water is free. Habitat is complete. Nice to see. And yeah, I think I'm gonna do what I just said. I'm gonna make a carbon mine into a farm on Earth. So we make our own food, so I don't have to worry about running out of food on Earth. I just need to worry about grabbing every last drop of food when I leave the planet. Because the planet needs a little bit of food to feed the people making the food. Whoops, 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 whoops. I may have missed my transfer orbit. Earth orbit to Mars orbit. Grab both Hermes. I don't have enough fuel in orbit for both of them. I only have 420 in orbit, so I need to do another launch from Earth to get more fuel up here, which is going to do, well, if I'm sending both of them. Let's send one. Let's figure out if we can even hit the window right now. Take the electronics. Oh, the Hermes only carries so much. Okay. Yeah, let's down you to that number. 300 tons. Okay, we're still in the optimal. Where if I hit optimal, it stays in the current window. Okay. That'll be fine. And if we go back to Earth, I need to get more exotic or more nobles to orbit. I want to send the next batch. Is there more to buy? And we unpause and we wait, see if the market refreshes. No, I'm feeling that the market is not going to refresh. I think we've bought all the gas. Okay. Okay, let's use a Falcon, get this up to orbit. Get what's left up to orbit. Here we go. Ship that to orbit on an Eagle. And then we might try to do one launch with what we got left on the last Hermes here. I just launched more. Do I only have 125 nobles? That's not great if that's the case. Earth orbit, 26 October 30th. I'll give it a little more time. Oh, I need to put the plan away. That's definitely been October, so it should have been launched. 215. Okay, so that's all I'm going to get. So if we're going to be able to make this window, we're going to be able to make this window now. Earth orbit to Mars orbit. Want to bring more rares along or more food along? I think it is more rares. 300 tons more rares. Nope, we've missed. Well, unless I go fastest. Oh no, I've missed the window. The window's been missed. We're waiting until the next window. We can probably get more gas by the next window at least. Okay. And yeah, we've got Earth colonists on the way to Mars. We got Mars Orbit 2 and Mars Orbit 3 inbound. So you're bringing supplies, food, and crew, and the other one's bringing stuff to build. Okay, we got 244 metal at Mars, ready for construction. Whatever I want them to build. That is actually a good question. What do I want them to build on arrival? Some of the stuff I can actually start building prior to arrival. So we've got metal here. I don't have any carbon. We can bring that down from orbit. I'm not sure if one hydroponic farm is going to be enough to feed everyone. Although, it's better than nothing. So get a hydroponic farm. Queued up. This is where we're going to be extracting noble gases. Let's get a noble gas farm queued up. Out of the metals we've mined in situ. You're set up. Do you have enough petrol to fly? Would be nice to start delivering carbon. Okay, so here, I'm going to want a hydroponics farm. We got the metal in situ, so we built a hydroponics farm. The next thing we probably want here is probably more metal mine. Okay. As far as the Stratos, demos to Phobos. With the Stratos, I want you to bring along, not... Oh, and this is silicon, so I actually want you to bring water along. I want you to bring 50 tons of water along. How much fuel do you have left when you get there? Most of it. That's fine. That's good. We want some petrol left on Phobos so you can get back. Logic achieved. In fact, we want you mostly full of petrol. To the degree, I'm going to bounce back up here. We're going to give you 50 tons of petrol. So you're going to yoink all the petrol on the planet, or on the thing. Most of it should be left over on destination. This is so that you can carry 100 tons of, well, 50 tons of carbon, 50 tons of metal back. Okay, I got a plan. Got a plan. Demos and Phobos are doing the carbon water exchange. We're going to bring some metal back here so we do the hydroponics. So we don't have to deliver that in situ. That's being built, although we'll have to drop carbon from one of our orbitals. Building noble gas because that's how we're going to refuel the Hermes. Okay, and I think looking at the time, I've already gone way over by 15 minutes. So this is where we're going to put the part break in. I think the next one's going to be us mostly waiting for our Martian arrival. And or waiting for, well, it's less waiting and more anticipating more and more and more gas being generated, petrol, good old fuel being generated on Luna here. We're up to 256 tons. It's a lot of gas for the transit out, and well, the transit out more importantly if we're using the Stratos. So we want a lot of gas. Maybe even so much that we might at some point want to drag even more people to the moon, so I can make more gas. And at some point we might make the supplies there. We shall see. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up tomorrow. I'm going to record another 3 parts today if my voice can keep. And if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break here. I might try to make the next part a little bit shorter because this one will go lower. But until the next part, I wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.